everyone? This is a little impromptu live. Obviously, this was not planned, but you guys know that sometimes when there is a breaking news situation, a big story that happens, sometimes I will sit down and do these vertical lives, and that is exactly what happened today. I fully planned on doing a pop off on something else, so I'll actually still give you guys that pop off, but not today. But then this morning, Justin Baldoni went ahead and filed this lawsuit against Blake Lively, and this is taking precedence, you guys, because this is a huge story. It's a 179-page lawsuit, and the accusations are crazy. The receipts are crazy. I honestly am very overwhelmed. I don't know about anyone else. The allegations are overwhelming. The texts are overwhelming. The information is overwhelming. It's a lot. And if you guys are just tuning in, if you could go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, that way people who have not been notified of this vertical live, hopefully they'll be able to get the notification. Also as well, you guys know, oh my God, get the notification, but also too, make sure you guys always check the community tab. For those of you who are not in the membership, members, we've been talking all day. You obviously knew I was gonna do this in the group chat, but if you are not part of the membership, you should be, because that is the most fun thing. But also too, I will always make sure to update the community tab if there's going to be an impromptu vertical live. So always make sure to check that. I will always put it there. I'll put the time, I'll put the link, all of the good stuff. I see Maria is in here. Jessica is in here as well. Dave is already here. LB, Crimson Rose, we love you. We support you. We got your back, girly. Kim, Robert, Kelda, Shailene, Reggie is in here. Betty is in here as well. Hello, hello. Elena, Brittany, Melissa. Song of the Fierce is in here. Kim is in here as well. Hi, Kim. Hello, hello, Belle. You guys, I'm still processing everything. I'm not even gonna lie. This lawsuit from Justin Baldoni is very overwhelming, but I will say everything his lawyer has been saying that they were going to bring to this lawsuit, they're bringing. The texts, the receipts, they're really coming at Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and Blake Lively's publicist, Leslie Sloan. They're coming at her hard. And yes, as the title suggested, Taylor is now being brought into the mix. Obviously, she's not being sued or anything, but she has now been brought into the lawsuit via text messages. And it sounds like, at least this is my interpretation, we'll get into it, but it sounds like Taylor was kind of used almost as a pawn by Blake Lively to show Justin Baldoni like, hey, I have Ryan Reynolds, my husband, but also a very powerful man in Hollywood, and one of the most famous people, period, Taylor Swift, backing me in my corner. So you're probably gonna wanna do what I want you to do because these people are backing me, and just how easily they're backing me, I could tell them to back you, or they could do the opposite. That's the energy it was giving. It was very much giving that, in my opinion at least, that Blake Lively was using her as a pawn. And we'll get into it when we get to Taylor, the Taylor aspect. But I just want to say, Taylor is a ride or die friend, okay? Taylor is a ride or die girly. If you tell Taylor Swift that a man, specifically at your place of work, is not listening to you, not treating you as an equal, being disrespectful to you, all of the things that Blake Lively accused Justin Baldoni of, there is not one singular doubt in my mind that Taylor Swift would say, girl, we ride at dawn. Again, we don't know what version of events Blake Lively was telling Taylor Swift, okay, in order for her to kind of really back her in the way that Justin Baldoni is saying that she backed her. We're going to get into it. Jelena, we were talking about the Taylor Swift aspect, but we're going to get into more specifics because Taylor Swift is mentioned in a text message from Justin to Blake. So we're gonna get into it, but I wanna start at the top, going from like the basic information and then get into it more. So from the top, basic information, Justin Baldoni has now filed a $400 million lawsuit against Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and Blake Lively's publicist, Leslie Sloan. Justin Baldoni is accusing them of civil extortion, defamation, false light, invasion of privacy, and other things. Now, when it comes to the specific 3 people being accused, okay, Blake Lively, in general, is being accused of attempting to gain control over the film's production beyond her contractual obligations. Ryan Reynolds, this is like an overarching theme, is being accused of allegedly being involved in supporting Lively's claims and pressuring Baldoni. And Leslie Sloan, aka Blake's publicist, overall is being accused of media manipulation and spreading damaging narratives. Okay. Now, in regards to the lawsuit that was filed today, I want to make sure I'm reading you guys a statement from Justin Baldoni's lawyer, because I think this kind of sets the tone for what they were going for. In his statement, Justin Baldoni's lawyer said, quote, "This lawsuit is a legal action based on an overwhelming amount of untampered evidence detailing Blake Lively and her team's duplicitous attempt to destroy Justin Baldoni, his team, and their respective companies by disseminating grossly edited, unsubstantiated, new and doctored information to the media. It is clear based on our own, out of all the willingness to provide all complete text messages, emails, video footage, and other documentary evidence that was shared between the parties in real time, that this is a battle she will not win and will certainly regret. Blake Lively was either severely misled by her team or intentionally and knowingly misinterpreted the truth." So Justin Baldoni's lawyer is not backing down. He is saying, you served the public in the New York Times some edited receipts. We're bringing all the receipts, every single piece of evidence, and you're gonna see what's really going on. I also think it's interesting that in his statement, he said Blake Lively was either severely misled by her team, so he's kind of giving her a little bit of an out, or intentionally and knowingly misrepresented the truth. Okay, so some of the accusations, more specific accusations in this lawsuit include claims that Blake Lively and her team created a campaign of defamation, obviously including the misrepresentation of facts to the New York Times, which we know Justin Baldoni has a separate lawsuit against the New York Times for that article for $250 million. Blake Lively is also accused of publicly discrediting Baldoni's role in the film through her press interviews. Lively, we know, also accused Justin Baldoni of harassment and fostering a hostile work environment during production, which Justin Baldoni, in his 179-page counter lawsuit, obviously addressed these harassment claims. He has denied them from the beginning, and the denial continued throughout his lawsuit. He countered these claims, saying that they're false and they were designed to control the project and tarnish his image. And you guys, I will say the texts that Justin Baldoni provides, it paints a very different picture than the New York Times article and than what Blake Lively was trying to put out to the public. Honestly, in some of the early texts between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, it appears as though they actually had a pretty friendly banter. Like, they had a good relationship at the beginning of this project. Several texts of Blake praising Justin, Justin praising Blake. I will say overall his tone towards her, even when things started to sour, was still very respectful in my opinion. But again, that's just reading these texts. At one point at the beginning of their beginning of them working together, she gave him a compliment, and in his text he responds saying he's happy to meet sentimental Blake. Blake Lively jokes back and is like, I don't know her. There's a joke about knowing a-hole Blake. And Blake Lively responds being like, now I know her well, and so do my suppositories. Haha, good night. Like, they very much had a friendly banter going on in the beginning. So he obviously offered that to show there was no harassment at the start. Also, too, as far as the claim of like the hostile work environment, the harassment, I remember at one point Blake Lively accused Justin Baldoni of making her watch adult film footage, which he directly addresses this in his lawsuit, saying it was not adult film footage. It was actually a video of a home birth from his partner in Wayfair, who Blake Lively also knew. And the reason why this was even brought up is because they were drawing inspiration from this home birth for the movie. And apparently Blake Lively never was forced to watch it, never even watched the video. She allegedly just saw like a still from the beginning of the video. But they addressed that head on as well, being like, all of those things that she was saying did not happen. Here's what we think she was claiming was adult film footage, but it was not. It was a home birth. There's an accusation that Blake seemingly tried to use Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift to intimidate Justin into agreeing with her. So here's where the Taylor Swift of it all comes into play. When it came to that infamous rooftop scene. Now, I know the rooftop scene is a very pivotal moment in the movie and in the book. And if you remember, during interviews, when they were promoting It Ends With Us, Blake Lively on the red carpet made a comment about how Ryan Reynolds actually wrote that part of the movie. So it's been a very big point of contention. But when it came to this rooftop scene, here's what Justin Baldoni is alleging. He claims Blake Lively rewrote the rooftop scene. Sent Justin Baldoni her rewrite. Justin Baldoni responded, praising her work. Again, this is in the texts. He says, you know, how she's really multi-talented. She brings a lot to the set. He loved her passion, and that ideally they will kind of merge her version and the original version for the final rooftop scene. That was not good enough for Blake Lively. She didn't respond for several days. Justin Baldoni ends up going to meet with Blake Lively about the rooftop scene. And when he goes to meet with her, Ryan Reynolds is there and an unnamed mega celebrity. And Ryan and this unnamed mega celebrity reportedly are there hyping Blake up, saying how her version is the best. They think her version is what's best for the film. Blah, 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 blah. Essentially alluding to the fact of this Blake's version is the one you need to go with. And we know this because after Justin leaves that meeting, he texts Blake and says that he always thought the pages he sent her were great and that he didn't, and then he says, even before Ryan and Taylor convinced me. So that is why Taylor Swift is being brought into this lawsuit, because he explicitly texted Blake being like, I liked your work. I didn't need Ryan and Taylor to convince me of it. I also saw some people bringing up the dragon comment and how she called Ryan and Taylor her dragons. She did. There is a text message, another exchange, where Blake almost tries to kind of like apologize for Ryan and Taylor. And she makes a comment of, if Justin ever gets around to watching Game of Thrones, he'll realize that she's like Khaleesi. She has 2 dragons who are fighting for her. And that's just what they were doing. They were supporting her. They're fighting for her. And she makes a comment that just like her dragons fight for her, they also will fight for people who she supports. And so she makes a comment of like, trust me, they'll have your back too. A mess. An absolute mess. You guys, other specific allegations include, okay, Blake's publicist being accused of leaking stories to make Justin Baldoni look bad and damage his credibility. This was after people started to turn on Blake Lively online. Again, Justin Baldoni maintains that this happened organically. Justin Baldoni maintains that this negativity towards Blake happened all of her own doing. In the lawsuit, he even brings up how at the premieres, she was also promoting her alcohol brand, and how she had signature cocktails that people were kind of uncomfortable by the names. One was like Rile You Up. So he was trying to say she brought that negative press on herself. And in fact, him hiring a PR crisis management team, that like game plan of his PR crisis management team, that's what was leaked to the New York Times, and that's what they were trying to use to make him look bad. But also too, you guys, Baldoni also accused Blake and Ryan of threatening him if he did not apologize for mistakes made during production, quote, in order to deflect from the avalanche of negative media coverage of Lively. According to Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds drafted a statement for him and ordered him to make the statement before, quote, the gloves come off. Baldoni refused, saying he refused to apologize for sins he never committed. And essentially he's saying that's why he believes all of this negativity has now followed him, okay? In this lawsuit, he also accuses her of not reading the book, not meeting with the DV organization that the film was benefiting. He also accuses her of making fun of his nose and saying that he needed to get a nose job, which obviously he brought up because Blake Lively mentioned in her lawsuit that Justin Baldoni made comments about her postpartum body. It is a lot. It is absolutely a lot. And I'm seeing your guys' comments. It's a lot to process. It's a lot to take in. I genuinely am still kind of gobsmacked by all of this. It is completely out of control. It has completely blown up. And I'll be honest, I kind of don't think that Blake Lively ever intended for it to get to this level. I feel like she, obviously the negative press, she was not happy with. Obviously she felt like some things were done to her inappropriately by Justin Baldoni, which is why she filed that complaint. I think she thought that when she would file that complaint that it would kind of flip the public perception of her and everyone would be on her side. But when people still had questions, then she had no choice but to go with this lawsuit. And then it's like, once she filed her lawsuit officially, Justin Baldoni had no choice but to try to fight back. Because once you're accused of harassment and starting a PR campaign to ruin one of the biggest celebrities, ruin their reputation, I mean, he had no choice but to fire back at the New York Times and then now fire this lawsuit back at Ryan and Blake and her publicist. It really has just completely blown up. So now she did file an official lawsuit. So at first it was just the complaint with the Civil Rights Board. It was just a complaint at first, but she has now filed an official lawsuit against Justin Baldoni for an undisclosed amount. And that's something else that I'm seeing a lot of people bring up. The fact that essentially Blake Lively had no choice but to publicly go ahead and file this lawsuit because she filed the complaint. And I think because, again, like I said, after that complaint, the public perception didn't flip on her side. People were like, okay, well, if you're really accusing him of all of this and the receipts in the New York Times are true, like, let's see this man go to court. Like, let's see this play out. And therefore, she went ahead and had to file a lawsuit officially for an undisclosed amount. Hers is not public, but Justin Baldoni is fully with his chest saying, no, I'm suing Blake, Ryan and the publicist for $400 million. Because I do feel like he knows that his career will never be the same after this, honestly. And as I've been saying, I don't think Blake Lively's career will ever be the same. I don't think Ryan Reynolds' career will ever be the same. Especially now that Disney and Marvel are also being brought into this narrative. For those of you who don't know, Justin Baldoni's legal team did send a letter to Disney and Marvel telling them they need to hold on to all correspondence as it pertains to the character Nice Pool in Deadpool, because Justin Baldoni believes that that character was created in order to make fun of him, bully him, and he is telling Disney and Marvel, like, you need to hold on to all correspondence regarding this character because I believe that was intended to mock me. And I think something that makes Ryan Reynolds so powerful is that he can go into a project and say, I can write the script, I can produce, I can direct, I can act, and I can market the film for you. I think that makes him a very large asset to studios. However, I don't think studios are going to want to work with Ryan if they could possibly be dragged into legal correspondence because of things happening with his wife. And that's basically what's happening right now. And you know, Disney and Marvel for sure are going to be like, we want to be excluded from this narrative. So I do feel like regardless of who comes out of this thing on top, none of their careers will ever be the same. And obviously, I think people feel like this is also a David versus Goliath situation. Like Ryan and Blake are obviously Goliath. Justin Baldoni is giving David, but it's just insane. Crimson Rose said, here's where I question her integrity. Crimson Rose, just sending you hearts. Sorry, the Taylor Swift heart, and I know people are going to drag me for that. Crimson Rose said, here's where I question her integrity. How can you come to an agreement with someone that supposedly did the things you claim, but if they complied to your wants, you won't out them? How is that not seen? And I'm with you, Crimson Rose. I think the thing that really stands out to me is this allegation of Blake and Ryan drafting a statement for Justin Baldoni and saying, if you don't read this statement to admit to things that happened during production, the gloves will be off. And that, I mean, that to me is huge if that is true. That is huge because that is civil extortion. That is saying, if you don't comply with what we say, we're going to unleash on you. That allegation, if that is true, and even just the allegation of it all, is making me look at Ryan and Blake in a different light. I can't even lie to you guys. It's making me kind of be like, what kind of people are y'all? And it's so hard because, I'll be honest, I loved Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. I loved that they were such good friends with Taylor. I loved that. So it's hard. It's a lot to interpret. Unserious said, both of them give me the ick. I'm sorry, Taylor. I know she's your bestie, Pop, but I've heard too much doo-doo from her. As for him, if he's guilty, we jump in his I don't love that Taylor's being dragged into this either. I obviously don't love that Taylor, like I said, it sounds like Taylor was used as an intimidation tactic. My only, and again, I'm thinking of it this way because I do like Taylor, but I honestly do think Taylor is a ride or die friend. And I think if Taylor was fed the version of events that Justin Baldoni is misogynist, Justin Baldoni is not listening to me, Justin Baldoni is not taking me seriously, Justin Baldoni is laughing off my rewrites, Justin Baldoni is creating a toxic work environment, blah, 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 all these things that Blake has accused him of. If that is what she told Taylor, you know one of Taylor Swift's #1 triggers is a misogynistic man, okay? Of course she's going to come and back her best friend and do what she feels her best friend needs. And if that's showing up to a meeting to flex her celebrity, she'll do it. Not saying that's necessarily right, not saying it's bad, I'm just saying that's kind of how I at least interpret Taylor's part in all of this. I don't know. Again, I could be totally, I just don't want to believe that Taylor would knowingly back somebody who she knew was acting inappropriately. Betty said, hers isn't an undisclosed amount. She left it to the jury if she wins to set the amount. Okay, that's fair. I was using the wrong verbiage, Betty. So very, very fair. She left it to the jury if she wins to set the amount. That is correct. When I was saying undisclosed, I meant not like a set amount. So I was using the incorrect verbiage there. Thank you, Betty. Unserious said, wait, drop everything now. They use Taylor what? This is based on the text messages. In the text messages, Justin Baldoni says that he liked Blake Lively's rewrite of the rooftop scene even before Justin and Taylor convinced him. I guess I'm the one who's saying that Taylor was used. Justin Baldoni is not saying that, but to me, that's just how I interpret the events. I interpret the events of Justin Baldoni was not agreeing to what Blake Lively wanted. She wanted her version of the rooftop scene. So when she called Justin Baldoni to meet with her, and Ryan Reynolds is there and Taylor Swift is there, hyping her up, saying her version is better, her version is the one that needs to go in the film. To me, that is, I guess not using, but calling on your friend to help you. And I feel like Justin Baldoni felt like he had no choice but to obviously give in, because you have Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift looking at you being like, her version's better. Of course he's gonna be like, okay. Crimson Rose said, TMJ, if the allegations are true from Justin, my tears ricochet was also used to mock Justin and Blake. Put nice pull in the credits of the movie, mocking him more, doesn't make sense. That was a whole other thing too. The studio really did not want to mess up Blake and Taylor's friendship because they wanted to use Taylor's song. Romy said, well, calling them her dragons, she put them in it. I also feel like that's the connotation I get from the dragons comment as well. For those of you who are just tuning in a text message that Blake Lively sent to Justin Baldoni, she references her two dragons, and it appears as though those two dragons were Ryan and Taylor, saying that they will protect her and they'll do anything to protect her. But she said in that same breath, whoever she wants protected by her dragons, they'll protect. So, Unserious said, blind say Justin and Blake had an affair that fell out. Y'all know how I feel about blind items. I personally feel like you have to tread incredibly lightly with blind items. I would be pretty surprised by that, but that's just my own personal opinion. Honestly, I do think that they had a very friendly banter and relationship when this started. But I don't believe that it ever turned romantic. Even based on the text messages now that we're seeing, yes, they are like friendly and there's jokes, but I personally don't feel like I am ever getting a connotation or a tone of there was anything romantic going on. But that's just me. I personally don't believe that blind item. Again, based on the texts, it feels very friendly and colleague. And again, at the beginning of this, they had a lot of respect for one another. I mean, Blake was praising Justin Baldoni in a lot of these texts too. It wasn't just Justin praising Blake. Like, she had a lot of nice things to say about him at the beginning of this. Song of the Fear said, I'd love to hear Blake's response to this. I want the info out ASAP because it's like a seesaw right now. So far, Blake's team has not responded to this lawsuit with a statement. At the time of this live, obviously we're going to get a response, right? We're going to get a statement. I think it's going to take them a little bit of time though, because again, there is 179 pages in this Justin Baldoni lawsuit. Several text messages are in this lawsuit, emails, correspondence. There's a lot in this lawsuit. There's a lot that Blake and Ryan are directly being accused of. I think it's going to take her lawyers at least till tomorrow morning to really craft a statement to address this lawsuit, because they have to be very careful with their words, and there was a lot of accusations that are happening here. Unserious said, Mr. Unserious and I believe every blind item were toxic. That's funny. I'm just very, very cautious with blind items. To me, anyone could be sending those in, so I feel like you just have to be careful. But obviously, whatever your gut tells you, I'm not gonna, hate on anyone's opinion. That's something here in the House of Hill. For anyone who's just tuning in and has never seen my face before, hi, my name's Madison. This is the House of Hill. We cover a wide variety of celebrity topics and tea. We also do a little lifestyle as well and fun. Here in the House of Hill, we can fully disagree, but we're always respectful. So that's our thing here. You might not agree with what I'm saying. You might not agree with what some people are saying in the chat. Totally fine. Share your opinion. But here, we're always respectful of one another, no matter what. Betty said, this is an official meeting with Sony. There have to be minutes or a recording. Is this proof in his lawsuit? Which official meeting are you talking about? With Ryan, Taylor, and Blake? Is that the meeting you're talking about? Or are you talking about another meeting? It doesn't sound like Sony was involved in the meeting with where they were discussing that rooftop scene, the rewrite. It doesn't sound like Sony was involved in that. But I don't know if you're talking about that meeting or something else. Sony has not released a response to this either. They're gonna have to, right? Because it's also being called into question of how they were told to promote the film. That Blake has said that, Sony wanted them to promote the film a certain way. Ryan has said, or Justin Baldoni has said that necessarily isn't true, and he promoted the film how he wanted to promote the film. Sony's gonna have to come out and speak, because there's a lot that's coming into question on how they were supposed to promote this film. Like, was Blake doing the right thing and Justin was going against the studio, or is that not the case? Let's see, Cindy Lou, hey guys, super late to the live. Oh my God, you're totally fine. This was impromptu, so you're so good. I just got home from picking up the kids. We're talking about Justin Baldoni filing a $400 million lawsuit against Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and her publicist. Color said, this is so much drama. It literally could be a season finale. And Gossip Girl, it is so much drama. Liz, and I know a couple other people said this earlier, now I'm starting to understand why Selena is not friends with Blake. I can't lie, that did cross my mind a little bit today. I was like, suddenly the math is mathing a little bit on why Selena doesn't mess with Blake Lively. And for those of you who might be a little confused, this came out last year, that Selena and Blake Lively don't necessarily mesh. And there was a lot of reports about how essentially like Taylor and Blake have a different friendship than her and Selena. If she wants, a fun night out and lighthearted conversation and just a little more ease of a night, she tends to call Blake Lively to hang out. And if she wants to discuss more serious things and more serious career things, she calls Selena. And honestly, I've always maintained the position that not all of our friends have to be friends. You know what I mean? Not everyone who you meet in life is gonna mesh. Everyone has friendships that serve different purposes in their life. Like, that's kind of the position I always took. Obviously now hearing more allegations against Blake Lively, of course it makes you stop and be like, was Selena saying something that we didn't quite know yet? But again, I don't want to believe that Taylor Swift would be friends with somebody who is not a great person. But maybe that might be my own delusion, you know? Betty said, I think her team's just gonna say that the truth will come out in trial. And that's pretty much all they're probably going to allow to say. Because they're not gonna address this point by point by point, because obviously anything they put out to the media can be dissected at trial. So I think it would be best for them to just say, yes, we saw the lawsuit and all the truth will come to light. That's probably what they'll say in more lawyer terms. Unserious said they both look like they need 10 showers, no shade. Who looks like they need 10 showers? No shade. Selena said if Blake Lively comes out to seem like a terrible person, Taylor might get dragged by folks online. I mean, the public is itching to drag her in general. Oh, for sure. I mean, people are just chomping at the bit to drag Taylor, always. Similar to how people chomp the bit to drag Selena too. Oh, Blake and Justin. LH said, I get it, I don't doubt it, but the thing is, it wasn't obvious at the time the film came out, and it seems like it will fall under parody. Oh, talking about the nice pool situation. Kelda said, actress to actress, very possible that Selena doesn't like seeing people throw their weight around to get their way and using powerful connections to sway things. That. Actress to actress, very possible that Selena doesn't like seeing people throw their weight around to get their way and using powerful connections to sway things. Kelda, I think you really nailed it on the head there. Especially because even though Selena Gomez is Selena Gomez, in my personal opinion, she has had to fight tooth and nail for every opportunity that she gets. Like, she had to audition for Amelia Perez. She had to really earn that role. And she deserved it. She killed it. She's getting recognition for it, as she should. But I could see Selena taking issue with somebody throwing their weight around, throwing their celebrity around. Again, kind of using their friend's celebrity to their benefit in order to get their way on projects. 1,000,000% I could see that rubbing Selena Gomez the wrong way. Honestly, it would rub me the wrong way too. And again, these are allegations that Justin Baldoni is making, right? Just as Blake Lively has made allegations against Justin Baldoni. Obviously, this is going to be a big case. This is probably going to go to trial unless both of them decide that we're ruining our lives. Let's just quietly settle outside of court. But I don't know. I feel like at this point, they both have a lot of skin in the game. I don't know if they'll settle outside. That's what they should do. They should settle this outside of court and just never speak to one another again. But I don't know if they will. Like, that's what should happen though. Because I really have said this from the beginning and I maintain it. No one is benefiting here, regardless of what happened. I don't think we'll ever actually really know. I think there's like 5 versions of what happened on It Ends With Us, and the truth is somewhere in the middle. But no one here is benefiting. Justin Baldoni is not benefiting from this, okay? Even if it comes out that he is right and Blake and Ryan are corrupt and extorted him and are the worst humans in Hollywood, he's not winning from this, because even after all of this, people are going to be skeptical of working with him. People are going to be like, well, if something goes wrong, are you going to sue me for $400 million? His career is never going to be the same. And in that same breath, Blake and Ryan's career is never going to be the same. Every time they go up for a project, there's always going to be a seed of doubt with people being like, is Blake Lively going to be hard to work with? Is she going to try to take my project from me? Is Ryan going to swoop in and try to intimidate me in order to give Blake what she wants? Is Ryan Reynolds going to put a character that makes fun of me in his next movie? Their careers will never be the same. In my opinion, I think Justin Baldoni's career will take a bigger hit because he doesn't have as much power as Blake and Ryan. But either way, none of their careers are going to be the same after this. Like, they're all losing here, which is why I think they should just settle. But I doubt that they will. Shailene said Justin is just trying to survive the storm thrown at him. This lawsuit is very much giving Justin Baldoni fighting for his life. I'm not even going to lie. 179 pages, releasing all these texts. His lawyer literally has no problem talking to the media. Like, his lawyer's like, yeah, I put a camera in front of my face. Let me tell you what's been going on. It very much gives Justin Baldoni fighting for his life. I'm not going to lie. Again, I think, this is just my opinion. Do I think some stuff went down between Blake and Justin on set? Obviously. At one point, their relationship completely soured. That is obvious. I think they're both guilty of doing things to one another. But I do think that when all of the negative press started coming out about Blake, which happened through old interview clips, people not agreeing with how she was promoting the film, whether that was Sony's plan or not, the internet did not like it. And at some point, Sony should have told her to flip and start promoting it like Justin, but that's neither here nor there. I think Blake Lively could not handle all the negativity that was happening for her and around her and about her reputation. I think she did start to panic. And I think that the most obvious person to blame for that was Justin Baldoni. And that's how I think we got into this mess. Again, I really think when she filed that civil complaint, I feel like she just thought this, again, I could be wrong, but I feel like that was a PR move on her part to be like, see everyone, I was going through all this behind the scenes. Nobody knew this. Justin Baldoni's really the bad guy. And I think she was really expecting people to be like, Justin Baldoni sucks. Justin Baldoni's public enemy number one. And while some people did do that because he got dropped by his management, his podcast partner, dropped him too, I don't think the public perception of Blake Lively flipped as far as she was hoping it would flip. And I think people were like, okay, if he did all of this, then we want to hear more. And then she had to file the lawsuit, and now Justin Baldoni is fighting for his life. I think it's just gotten completely out of hand. And again, I really don't think Blake Lively intended for it to get this big. And that's just my own personal opinion. I could be totally wrong. Maybe this was something she knew could happen from the beginning and went for it anyway. But there's just something, for some reason, I feel like she never intended it to get this bad. Unserious said, isn't Taylor trying to stop the mean girl reputation? Drop Blake. I feel like people thought Taylor was a mean girl years ago because she would have that group of girlfriends and people were like, some people aren't allowed to be in the group and Taylor is a mean girl. That's where I feel like that like mean girl reputation came from. I feel like as of late, no one has thought that, at least to my knowledge, because now her concerts are so positive and it's all about inclusivity. I don't think Taylor will drop Blake. Honestly, I think if anything, her and Blake will probably have some conversations. But, you guys, this is just me, my own opinion. Like, again, I just don't want to believe that Taylor would knowingly back somebody who was doing wrong things. So, of course, I want to believe that Blake told Taylor her version of events and that's what Taylor was defending. But I don't know. You know what I mean? I could be letting my love for Taylor cloud my judgment on that one, and that I fully admit. Maybe Taylor is a mean girl. Maybe Taylor doesn't give an F about who gets hurt. Maybe she likes throwing her celebrity around and had no problem backing Blake and Ryan, knowing that they were trying to intimidate Justin Baldoni. Maybe she did. Maybe I'm going to have egg on my face, and maybe she is just this number one mean girl with mean girl friends, but I just don't want to believe that, at least. Layla said, oh no, I still think Justin can come back from this. I bet a lot of producers and actors are probably glad the truth is out. I'm sure there will be some out there that will still work with him. I hope that their careers I hope it'll be fine. I just feel like there's always going to be some doubt for some of these people. Always and Forever said, well, yes, but I can see Blake being nice to Taylor and other celebrities, but still be a mean girl to others. That's also a fair point. I saw people talking about Candace Owens. Candace Owens does. I don't want her to have more fuel. Candace Owens literally hates Taylor Swift. And I disagree with Candace Owens on a lot of things. But yeah, she hates Taylor Swift. Soft and Spicy. Blake isn't as well liked as she thought she was. That's kind of what I think too. Jenny Westlake. Random, but I got engaged and I got the canine spot, making the first female with a dual purpose dog. Jenny is a BA. Jenny, that is incredible. Congrats on your engagement. I just saw your name pop up and I wanted to say hey, and that is amazing. Unserious said, Tay still has mean allegations because of the Olivia stuff. Okay. I mean, I always felt like that was a lot of fan-driven feuding, but yeah. I mean, people are always going to believe stuff about Taylor. Same with Selena. You know what I mean? Autumn said, I'm a huge Swiftie, but what Taylor did to Olivia was god-awful. Why go after a teenager for her art? You know, I also think, too, a lot of people didn't give Taylor Swift grace in her career, which is probably why maybe she felt like with the Olivia situation, she needed what was hers. But I don't want to talk about Olivia because that is really not what this live is about. This live is about, you know, Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, Ryan Reynolds, and it's just absolutely, absolutely insane. I think Taylor was setting a precedence too. I think she was saying like, I don't want other artists feeling like they can use my stuff without crediting me. But again, doesn't matter. I'm serious. It's okay. Tay took it too far with Olivia, in my opinion. Sorry, no shade. Never at all. And that's what I'm saying. We can share opinions here and everyone be respectful of one another. That's what it's all about. Shabria said, I like Candace Owens. Also, as a Swiftie, I don't think Candace hates Taylor, but she has pointed out some interesting perspective. Okay, I like that. Crimson Rose said, business is business. Teenagers need to learn and be corrected when doing a no-no. Jessica said, I don't see Tay as self-centered or full of herself like Blake. Tay has compassion. And then Shailene said, but if she was a man. Shailene said, whoop. Overall, what are your guys' thoughts about Justin Baldoni's lawsuit? I guess that's where I kind of want to wrap things up. Like, after seeing his lawsuit, hearing the allegations in the lawsuit, hearing about some of the texts that are in this lawsuit, did his lawsuit and his allegations change your opinion on the situation? Did it just make you be more in the middle? Are you more on Blake's side? Are you thinking this is just Justin's tactic to make Blake look bad and make Ryan look bad? Like, after this lawsuit, where do y'all, just a temperature check of where y'all are standing? Me personally, I feel like the texts that were shared did give more context to things that we've been hearing. I think it also illuminated that they did at one point have a good relationship until things soured. I also think for me, it illuminated that there are so many moving parts. There is so much that went down that we obviously did not know. And I think that there are a lot of people involved and that this situation is a big freaking mess. Again, I also am not fully on one person's side or the other. I think I want to see how this plays out. It's a mess. Let's see. Both lawsuits should be dropped. It's just a battle of egos. Betty said, we all saw Blake's interviews that she did unprompted. Wear your florals to CTV. Ooh. Let's see. Chris said he wouldn't sue if he didn't have anything for no reason. Kim said, it turned me against a movie that I was really looking forward to. Kim, I kind of feel like that too. I'm like, ugh, now I don't know if I ever want to see this movie. Always and Forever said Team Justin. Kelda said, I'm just wondering where this will end. Are more receipts coming, or is that all for now? I think this is going to be all for now, but I think more could come. Irene said, I believe in evidence, not believing all women. That's stupid. We have to wait and see. Alexander said, I was already side-eyeing Blake when it came to Selena. Didn't like her. I don't like either of them. Duke it out in court. Autumn, thank you for the love. I appreciate it. Okay, interesting. We will see. Shabria said, it's hard. They both seem wrong, but Blake is problematic. Betty said, I'm team Blake until it's proven against her in court. Okay. I feel like everyone's kind of just waiting to see how this plays out. I also think it'll be interesting to see what Blake Lively's team releases. Although I am with you, Betty. I think it will ultimately end in like the truth will come to light, but they're gonna have to say something. You know what I mean? It's gonna be bad. It's going to be bad. Either way, this is a mess. I mean, literally when I was reading Crystal's team Blake as well, when I was reading all of this lawsuit and reading the texts, truthfully, you guys, I was like, this is so much to process. I don't know, and I don't know if I should be admitting that or not, because obviously I am coming at you guys, but I'm not gonna lie, it is a lot to process. Just so many allegations, so many accusations. It is a lot to digest. And maybe that's why I feel so just in the middle of the situation, because it's a lot. Unseer said, I hope they both drain their bank in donation to the LA wildfires to make up for all the narcissistic battle of the egos drama. Peace and love, no shade. There was even a mention of the LA fires in Justin Baldoni's lawsuit, claiming that I guess some of the people were served on Blake Lively's lawsuit while they were trying to evacuate their homes, which Blake Lively and her legal team have no control over when people are served, but that was actually mentioned. The wildfires were mentioned in Justin Baldoni's lawsuit. Insane. Yeah, to make sure everyone is clear on the rollout of events, Blake Lively filed a complaint to the Civil Rights Board about Justin Baldoni, accusing him of harassment and the smear campaign. It started out as a complaint. Then that complaint moved to a lawsuit. Justin Baldoni has filed a lawsuit against the New York Times because they put out that initial article about him with texts that he claims were doctored and edited. And then now he has filed a personal lawsuit against Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and her publicist for $400 million. So this whole thing all of the legal action started after Blake Lively filed that complaint. Since then, it has just been a rolling of events and literally nonstop. Absolute nonstop since she filed that complaint. Obviously, before the complaint, there were rumors of what was going on behind the scenes. There were rumors that they didn't get along. We were kind of getting tit for tat reports. One would be negatively about Blake, then we'd get a negative one about Justin. It was kind of back and forth. But as far as like the legal proceedings, all of this started after Blake filed that complaint. After that complaint was filed, it has been game on ever since. And I also want to just say one more thing. Again, I know we're all kind of like waiting. Some are very clearly on Team Blake here. Some are very clearly Team Justin. Whoever needs the consequences, I hope gets the consequences. And I also want to just reiterate too, even if Blake Lively is the biggest B on the planet, the most difficult to work with, an awful person, that does not mean that she should be harassed at her place of work. So I always just want to make sure I reiterate that, because I feel like a lot of people are like, she's a terrible person. She deserves whatever she had coming to her. I am not saying that. I am saying that there are some things that are making me side-eye Blake a little bit. side-eye her and Ryan, and, you know, I don't feel comfortable being like fully Blake 110%, but I also want to make it clear, if Justin did the things that she's accusing him of, as far as the sexual harassment is concerned, even if she is a mean girl all the way, she does not deserve that. So that's, at least, I just wanted to make that clear for certain. Again, there's a lot of things going back and forth. There's a lot of moving parts, and I think a lot of people are going to get drawn into this for sure. So we shall see. Again, the tone of Justin Baldoni's lawsuit is him fighting for his life. We shall see what happens after this. LT said disappointed in Taylor Swift involvement. I don't love that Taylor's being dragged into this, obviously. Like, as soon as I saw that text where he was like, before Ryan and Taylor convinced me, you know the TikTok sound, the, oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no. That was literally me. When I saw Taylor Swift being mentioned, that's what was playing in my head. Oh no, oh no, oh no, no, no. Like, ugh. But I knew it was only a matter of time. I felt like there is no way. They are so close. There is no way she's not going to get brought up in some capacity. Like, we had to know at some point she was going to get dragged in here. Ryan, I knew, was going to get dragged in because they worked so closely on each other's projects. But Taylor, I was like, ah! But yeah, it was bound to happen. Cindy, I put a link in the community tab for the members only. If you're having an issue, I'm gonna give an email for you. Just send an email to this email, and I can send you a personal link if that one didn't work that's in the community tab. So just let me know. You can email that email, and I can send you a personal link if the one in the community tab didn't work. Thanks, K-Nick said, you're doing a good job, Madison. The chat has taken sides with assumptions. This is like this lawsuit. It's a lot. And, you know, I feel like for the most part, sometimes with the vertical lives, y'all know sometimes things get crazy, but I think it's because we weren't talking about the Beavers. Everything seemed pretty, you know what I mean? Copacetic. Unserious said, if I can block my dad, Taylor can block Blake. LOL. Unserious coming in with the gems. Mars said, I feel like because you love Taylor so much, you don't want Blake to be guilty. I actually have taken a very neutral response on Blake Lively. Because I like Taylor, that's not influencing my opinion on Blake Lively at all. If anything, like I said at the beginning, this lawsuit has made me kind of look at her and Ryan in a different light. I actually liked Blake and Ryan separate from Taylor. Yes, was an added bonus that they were friends for sure, but no, I just don't feel comfortable when there are sexual harassment allegations until there's more information. I don't feel comfortable discouraging one person or the other. But my love of Taylor is not influencing my opinion on Blake. If anything, like I said, the allegations in Justin Baldoni's lawsuit and the texts, I feel like have made me definitely look at her and Ryan differently. Because if this is true, like I said, what really stuck out for me was that whole statement situation. Them drafting up a statement for Justin and saying, if you don't release this, then the gloves are coming off. That's 1,000% not okay. And that is extortion, as he's claiming, if that is what happened. So honestly, no. And I hope one thing that if you're new here or you've been watching me for a long time, I hope you know that I have no problem changing my position on somebody if the actions prove that my position need to be changed. What is right, and what is wrong. And I have no problem going with what I believe is right, even if I'm not necessarily a fan of that person or if that flips me. Like, I genuinely go with what I think is right, regardless of who I'm a fan of. And like I said, if it comes out that Taylor knowingly knew Blake's behavior was going on and still supported her, obviously that is something I would take into account. As of right now, it's some texts and interpretation. And Justin didn't say that Taylor was mean, you know what I mean? But no, truthfully, like, I really do pride myself on looking at a situation and looking at the facts of that specific situation and coming up with my opinion. So my feelings on Blake have nothing to do with being a Taylor Swift fan. If that were the case, I would be riding for Blake hard, and I would have been riding for Blake since the beginning of this. And I think if you go back and watch any of my commentary, I have always maintained I want to see more, because something has always felt off about the situation since the get-go. Even when there are rumors about things happening during production. In fact, if you guys remember, I always said I thought it was a battle of the egos. I genuinely thought this was just like a battle of two celebrities, their egos, them going tit for tat. I never expected it to get this legal and blow this up, like blow this much up. Like, never in a million years, when we were talking about things that were happening on set last year, did I think we would get to the point that Justin Baldoni would file a $400 million lawsuit. Genuinely, I thought this is a battle of the egos, two celebs being two celebs, and that we would not hear about this again. But clearly not the case, because again, I feel like the trajectory of this completely flipped when Blake Lively filed that complaint. The moment she filed that complaint and threw out that accusation of harassment, it's never been the same since. Unserious said, we giggle and love bias citizen. It's okay. We love a little bias. And I will say, if I ever am biased, I fully admit it. Like I've told you guys, like, I love Taylor. I always make sure to make any bias I have crystal clear, because unlike a lot of people who create celebrity content, y'all, I actually went to journalism school. I worked in local news. I worked at the NBC affiliate. I've worked for NPR. Like, I have worked for hard news organizations. So I will always acknowledge if I have a bias in a situation, which is why I've never hid the fact that I like Taylor. Like, I feel like I've made that pretty clear. But you guys also know that, again, I am a pretty moral, like, not pretty. My moral compass is pretty intact. And I will go with whatever I think is right. You know what I mean? Why is he suing her? I'm a bit lost. Katya, definitely rewind and rewatch this. But in general, just before we wrap up, he's suing her for Blake, Ryan Reynolds, and her publicist for civil extortion, defamation, false light invasion of privacy. Those are the, I guess, like, legal verbiage of what he's suing her for. But there's a lot of accusations. Definitely go back and watch this. But Unserious said, Madison, this Mexi News mother, her son. Thank you, Unserious. You crack me up. You guys, if you could give this video a thumbs up before we wrap up, that would be greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Also, if you're new here and you want to come hang out and be a part of the House of Hill, please come join us. We have so much fun over here. So definitely, please come hang out with us. We talk celebrity news, lifestyle, travel vlogs, all of that fun stuff. Also, make sure you're following me on Instagram at I am Madison Hill with 2 Ds. Jennifer said, Madison, what does your gut say? Jennifer, my gut says that, truthfully, my gut says that I do think Blake and Ryan threw their celebrity around, to be honest. I think that they used their celebrity and power to their advantage. I think they knew that they could overpower Justin Baldoni. But I also think Justin Baldoni might have not fully acted as chivalrous. Like, I don't think Justin Baldoni is a complete innocent party here either. Because he's also a celebrity. He also has an ego. He also has a reputation to uphold. I think they're both guilty of things, to be completely honest. And that's really where my gut is at this point. And that's why I have said I don't feel strongly one way or the other, because I think both of them have done wrong things. I think both of them acted inappropriately at some point. You know what I mean? Unserious said, my gut says Taco Bell chicken quesadilla extra sauce. Oh my God, yum. McDonald's would be my choice as well. Yum. And here come the trolls. I'm laughing, Kim. So that's kind of where I fall on it, honestly. So we shall see, everyone. We shall see. But thank you guys so much for hanging out during this live. Definitely give this video a thumbs up. And we still have 176 people here, which is crazy because I have been talking for a long time. I've got to go get these taken care of for people who've been following my horrible, horrible, horrible manicure that's been happening these past 2 weeks because I haven't been able to go get my nails done with everything happening in California. I am finally going to go get these taken care of. So you guys, thank you so much for hanging out during this live, being respectful of one another, providing your opinions. I really appreciate it. I'm glad we were able to do this. I'm glad we were able to talk. I love you guys, and I will see everyone next time. I know I owe you all a pop-off as well. But yeah, thank you guys for everything, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye. Bye, George.